Throughout history, men have sought the gaze of the powerful. To be seen is to exist. To be acknowledged is to have value. Yet countless souls pass unnoticed, fading like shadows on stone. They toil, they speak, they even strive, but to the mighty they are ghosts. In this discourse, I shall reveal why such men remain unseen. The problem we confront is this: why do the powerful ignore you, overlook your presence, and treat you as though you were nothing? It is not their blindness. It is your habits. 13 destructive patterns make you invisible to influence and authority. And unless you cast them aside, you will remain unseen, unheard, and forgotten. Men often complain that the powerful do not see them, that their efforts are ignored, that their presence is as the whisper of the wind, unheard, unvalued, and easily forgotten. They imagine that this is the fault of the great, that kings, rulers, merchants, and leaders are blind or cruel, incapable of recognizing worth when it stands before them. Yet, my friends, this is a comforting lie. The truth is far more brutal. The powerful are not blind. It is you who have made yourself invisible. Consider the court of any prince, the palace of any ruler, the chamber of any merchant lord. These places are crowded with men and women, all pressing forward, all hoping to be noticed. Some shine like steel beneath the torchlight, their presence undeniable, their words sharp enough to carve themselves into memory. Others, though standing in the same room, vanish into the walls, as though they were furniture. They smile, they bow, they nod politely, and yet they pass without consequence. This is the disease of invisibility, a condition that robs men of recognition before power. Why does this matter? Because in the game of influence, perception is everything. If the powerful do not see you, they cannot use you, cannot trust you, cannot fear you, cannot elevate you. To them, you are no different from the servant who lights the candles, or the stone that lies beneath their feet. It is not cruelty that consigns you to this fate. It is irrelevance. And irrelevance is the greatest enemy of ambition. Think carefully. When a prince scans a room, do you believe he counts the faces, seeking justice in whom he remembers? No. He seeks usefulness, he seeks danger, he seeks brilliance. He notices the one who offers something vital, or the one who threatens his peace, or the one whose presence commands attention. The rest, those who give no reason to be noticed, sink into the shadows, drowned by their own insignificance. You must understand, power has limited vision. A ruler cannot see everyone. A general cannot hear every voice. A master cannot attend to every servant. They see only what is necessary to their purpose. If you do not embody necessity, if you do not sharpen yourself into either a weapon or a treasure, you vanish before their eyes. This is why so many perish in obscurity. Not for lack of talent, not for lack of effort, but for lack of visibility. They believe their work alone will speak for them. They trust that merit is self-evident, that effort is a candle which cannot be ignored. But this is folly. In the court of power, merit without presence is silence. Effort without recognition is wasted breath. A soldier may fight bravely in 1,000 battles, but if his courage is never seen by his commander, he remains a nameless body among the fallen. The problem of invisibility is not confined to the courts of princes. It exists in every gathering where influence is at play. In the council chamber, the timid man is overlooked. In the marketplace, the modest merchant is swallowed by louder rivals. In friendship, in alliance, even in love, the one who fails to command attention is abandoned for the one who does. In every realm, invisibility is defeat. Let us dwell upon this. Why do men allow themselves to become invisible? Some believe humility will elevate them, but in truth, humility without strength is indistinguishable from weakness. Others think that by waiting patiently, power will one day turn its gaze upon them, as if rulers scour the earth seeking hidden gems. This is delusion. Princes do not dig in the dirt to find treasures. They notice only the jewels that glitter in the sun. Many more simply fear. Fear to stand out, fear to risk, fear to offend. Thus, they shrink themselves into the background, safe from attack, but also safe from recognition. To the powerful, the invisible man is nothing more than shadow. He poses no danger, so he is ignored. He offers no brilliance, so he is forgotten. He speaks no words of weight, so his voice is drowned by the roar of those who dare to speak. And what becomes of such men? They linger on the edge of history, watching others seize what they themselves once desired. The problem of invisibility, then, is not an accident. It is not fate. It is a habit, cultivated day after day by those who refuse to seize the opportunity to be seen. A man may think he is virtuous for avoiding notice, but he is merely announcing to the world that he does not matter. And in the eyes of the powerful, irrelevance is worse than failure, for the man who fails at least proved he attempted to rise. The man who is invisible never even existed. Power is not a benevolent force. It is not the gentle hand that seeks to raise every man equally, nor the noble eye that watches all with fairness. Power is selective. It observes only what matters to its survival, its strength, and its ambition. Those who stand before it must understand this truth, or they will perish as unseen phantoms. A ruler, a commander, a master of wealth. These figures do not waste their gaze upon the ordinary. They are surrounded by countless people, each vying for a fragment of attention. If they were to notice every face, hear every plea, consider every voice, they would drown in the weight of humanity. Therefore, the powerful choose. They filter. They sharpen their sight until it recognizes only two categories: those who are useful and those who are dangerous. All others vanish. To be useful is to offer something that power cannot ignore. This may be skill, knowledge, loyalty, or strength. But usefulness alone is not enough. It must be displayed in a manner that demands acknowledgement. A wise advisor who never speaks is no advisor at all. A soldier with unmatched courage, who hides behind others, is no different from a coward. Power cannot read minds. It sees only what is brought forth into the open. To be dangerous, on the other hand, is to represent a threat, a rival, a potential disruption to the order that power has built. Strangely, the dangerous man is always visible. Even if hated, even if hunted, he cannot be ignored. The prince who despises his rival still acknowledges his presence, for he must calculate against him. The commander who fears a rebellious captain still watches him closely. Danger commands attention as surely as usefulness. But what of the man who is neither? What of the one who is neither useful nor dangerous? He is nothing. He dissolves into the background, as invisible as the stones beneath the throne. Power does not hate him, does not love him, does not even remember him. He exists only as a body in the crowd. One more mouth to feed, one more name lost in time. This, my listeners, is the harsh law of the powerful to them. If you are not valuable or threatening, you are invisible. You must reflect upon this when considering your own place in the world. Ask yourself, when those above you glance in your direction, do they see a man to be relied upon or a man to be feared? If the answer is neither, then you are nothing in their eyes. The powerful do not reward kindness for its own sake. They do not notice loyalty unless it is paired with strength. They do not respect silence unless it hides an edge sharper than steel. Power is pragmatic, ruthless in its calculations. It invests its gaze only where it must. This is why the weak so often misunderstand rulers. They beg for attention by appealing to pity, by declaring their goodness, by hoping that fairness will one day lift them. But power has no time for fairness. The prince measures his allies by their usefulness in war, in wealth, in intrigue. The general trusts only the soldiers who can hold the line when blood is spilled. The merchant cares only for those who can increase his gold. The powerful do not look at you and wonder about your potential. They look at you and ask, what can you do for me now? Or what danger do you pose to me tomorrow? And so the invisible man remains invisible, not because he is weak, but because he fails to embody necessity. He does not sharpen himself into a weapon or polish himself into a treasure. He simply exists, and existence, without force or value, does not compel the gaze of those who sit in high places. To them, such a man is already a shadow, one step removed from being forgotten altogether. Think of the court, the palace, the hall of power. Observe how quickly the ruler's attention shifts. A bold voice cuts through the air, and the prince listens. A dangerous rumor arises. and he grows watchful. A cunning ally proposes a new scheme, and the ruler leans closer. Yet when a timid, irrelevant figure attempts to speak, he is brushed aside as one swats away dust. The ruler's mind is not cruel. It is simply focused on survival and dominance. Those who do not contribute to this struggle are invisible. This is the nature of power. It is not equal, it is not gentle, and it is not just. It is a flame that illuminates only those who burn brightly enough to be seen. All others stand in darkness, lost to the eyes of authority, forgotten as though they were never there at all. Men are not born invisible, they become so by their habits. Day after day, they cultivate patterns of thought and behavior that strip away their presence, their weight, their very importance before the eyes of the powerful. These habits are like a cloak woven of weakness, a garment that smothers their light and reduces them to shadows in the grand theater of power. To understand invisibility, you must understand these habits, for they are the tools by which men erase themselves. The first weakness lies in timidity. The timid man may possess wisdom, but he cloaks it in silence. His voice quivers, his step hesitates, his presence falters. Power does not lean in to hear whispers. It listens only to those who speak with command. Timidity convinces the mighty that the man is uncertain even of himself. And if he doubts his own worth, why should any ruler invest belief in him? The second weakness is flattery in excess. The sycophant thinks he is being clever by praising every word, smiling at every gesture, agreeing with every thought of the great. Yet what he gains is contempt. The powerful see in him no loyalty, only desperation, no respect, only servitude. A ruler may keep such a man near for convenience, but never for trust, never for respect. He is invisible the moment a stronger voice arrives. The third weakness is indecision. In times of choice, the undecided man drowns in hesitation. He weighs every path until all opportunities have vanished. To power, he is worse than useless. The prince needs men who can act, men who commit, men who stake themselves boldly upon a course. The indecisive appear as fog, shapeless, directionless, and impossible to rely upon. The fourth weakness is self-neglect. The man who lets his body decay, his dress slip into disorder, his speech grow dull, tells the world without words that he does not care for himself. And if he will not tend to his own state, how could he ever tend to the affairs of another? Power ignores those who make themselves into ruins, for ruins inspire neither loyalty nor fear. The fifth weakness is dependence. Many men cling to others, unable to move without guidance, unable to stand without support. They wait for orders, they ask for permission, they lean upon stronger shoulders as if they were crutches. To the powerful, such men are burdens. They are noticed only as one notices a chain dragging behind a horse. An annoyance, not a companion. The sixth weakness lies in speaking without weight. Some men speak endlessly, filling the air with chatter, yet every word is hollow. Their voices are noise without substance, like wind through an empty vessel. Power listens for ideas that cut, words that bind, declarations that matter. Endless chatter without force makes the speaker invisible, a buzzing insect swatted away without thought. The seventh weakness is the fear of conflict. Those who avoid struggle at all costs are mistaken for cowards. Power is forged in conflict, and the mighty respect only those who can endure it. A man who flees from every confrontation is never chosen for leadership, never trusted in crisis, never remembered in history. He hides himself beneath peace, and in doing so buries himself in obscurity. The eighth weakness is excessive modesty. Modesty in balance is a virtue, but when a man erases his own achievements, when he refuses to take credit, when he diminishes his own worth, he cuts himself out of the story. The powerful cannot reward what they do not see, cannot respect what is hidden, cannot acknowledge what is buried. Excessive modesty is a knife turned inward, carving away visibility. The ninth weakness is the obsession with pleasing everyone. Such men bend like reeds in the wind, shifting their words to suit every ear, altering their faces to mirror every gaze. Yet in the end, they stand for nothing. Power respects conviction, not pliancy. The man who pleases all is respected by none, for he is seen as unreliable, a tool without edge. The 10th weakness is the lack of conviction. Without firm beliefs, without unshakable principles, a man becomes a ghost. His words pass through the air without striking. His actions appear aimless, his loyalty uncertain. Power looks past such figures as though they are mist, for nothing of substance anchors them. The 11th weakness is the fear of risk. The man who never dares remains forever small. He clings to safety, to certainty, to the comfort of obscurity. But in the court of power, fortune favors those who leap, who gamble, who place themselves upon the stage of danger. The fearful man never rises above the crowd. He is lost within it. The 12th weakness is waiting for discovery. Many men believe they need only remain patient, that their time will come, that power will one day turn its gaze upon them and lift them into glory. But rulers do not wander the world seeking hidden treasures. They reward only what dazzles before them, what demands recognition. The man who waits in silence dies in silence. And finally, the 13th weakness is avoidance of responsibility. These men refuse to bear weight, to take ownership, to carry burdens. They pass blame, they flee accountability, they shun duty. To power, such men are invisible, for authority requires shoulders that can bear the load of consequence. A man who avoids responsibility is never trusted, never remembered, never seen. These 13 habits form the invisible cloak of weakness. They are not accidents, they are choices made daily, choices that strip a man of his presence and erase him from the attention of the mighty. The man who suffers from invisibility must first admit that it is not the fault of others. It is not the prince who has failed him, not the merchant who has overlooked him, not the general who has ignored him. It is he himself who has lived in weakness, who has chosen habits that suffocate his presence. If one wishes to escape this pit, he must cast aside the rags of invisibility and clothe himself in the garments of power. The solution is neither mercy nor luck. It is transformation. To be seen, a man must first sharpen his will. The weak drift like leaves, carried by the winds of other men's decisions. The strong carve their own path, and in doing so, they draw the gaze of the mighty. Power respects one thing above all certainty. The man who speaks with conviction, who moves with purpose, who acts without hesitation, forces himself into visibility. Even if his choice is unpopular, even if his words are unwelcome, he is remembered, for he has stood firmly while others have trembled. The solution demands that you abandon the habit of begging for recognition. Power does not stoop to lift those who wait passively. You must seize visibility. In the council chamber, it is not enough to think wisely. You must speak with force. In the marketplace, it is not enough to labor honestly. You must project strength, presence. In the court, it is not enough to serve loyally. You must make your loyalty visible, undeniable, impossible to ignore. A jewel that remains buried in the dirt is worthless, not because it lacks value, but because no one can see it. To cast off invisibility, you must embrace the twin weapons of utility and danger. Become useful to the powerful, so they cannot do without you. Develop skills, knowledge, and abilities that are rare, valuable, and necessary. But also cultivate an edge of danger. Not recklessness, but the kind of strength that reminds others you cannot be dismissed. A man who is useful may be tolerated. A man who is dangerous will never be ignored. When you embody both, the powerful will not only see you, they will keep you within reach, for to let you go would be to weaken themselves. You must also control the art of presence. A man who enters a room without force is swallowed by it. A man who commands attention changes the atmosphere with his arrival. This is not mere arrogance, it is strategy. How you speak, how you carry yourself, how you look upon others, all of this creates the illusion of weight. And in politics, in courts, in councils, illusion often becomes reality. The prince is surrounded by hundreds, yet he will remember the one who stood like a pillar, firm and distinct, while others bent like reeds in the wind. Another part of the solution is risk. Invisibility thrives in safety. Those who cling to comfort fade into the background, for they never do anything worth remembering. If you wish to be seen, you must step into danger, for it is only in moments of risk that the eyes of power sharpen. a soldier who volunteers for perilous duty, a courtier who dares to speak an uncomfortable truth, a merchant who risks a bold venture. All of these become visible precisely because they do what others fear. Fortune, as I have long said, favors the bold, but it also remembers them. Understand also the power of conflict. To avoid all struggle is to erase yourself, for men are defined in the moments they resist, oppose, and fight. Do not seek endless quarrel, but do not fear confrontation when it serves to sharpen your presence. A man who stands firm against an enemy commands attention. Even those who hate him must admit he exists. To be loved is one path, but to be feared is another, and both ensure that you are not invisible. Finally, the solution requires that you reject the illusion of patience. Time does not deliver recognition to those who sit quietly. History remembers those who seized their moment, not those who waited endlessly for one. A man who wishes to escape invisibility must act, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Each hesitation is another stone laid upon his grave, each delay another step into shadow. Visibility is a prize taken by force, not a gift granted by chance. Thus, the man who was once unseen can remake himself. He may burn away timidity, abandon flattery, cast off indecision, and stand in the arena of the powerful as a figure who cannot be ignored. By will, by presence, by risk, and by the balance of utility and danger, he transforms himself from a shadow into a force. You have now seen the truth laid bare, the problem of invisibility, the cold nature of power, the 13 habits that condemn men to shadows, and the path by which one may rise into the light. Remember this above all: the powerful do not see all men, nor do they care to. They see only what demands to be seen. If you continue in weakness, if you continue in habits that erase you, then you will pass through this world like a ghost, alive in body, but dead in influence. But if you cast aside these chains, if you stand with boldness, sharpen your presence, embrace risk, and wield both usefulness and danger as weapons, then you will no longer beg to be noticed. You will command it. To be invisible is to perish in silence. To be visible is to step onto the stage of power, where your existence cannot be denied, where your name cannot be forgotten.